pancakes. Like, that guy was legit shook up by what he saw. And then I loved the power dynamics between Alexis and Val, where Alexis is like, "Are you idiot? Give me the gun." Val's like, "No, I'm not an idiot. Get over yourself." Like, Val is not going to listen to Alexis. I don't think Val really ever listens to Alexis. And if it had to come down to Val listening to Alexis, Val probably would have killed Alexis. I keep saying the two names a lot. But I like the power flip. And then they started wrestling for the gun. They just fell apart.
That is such a girly moment as well. Like, I love that too. There's a lot of girl stuff in here. Like, I mean, we've got the obvious first scene that we have. But, like, yeah, even I laugh every time because that's such a girly thing. Like, rolling around on the ground to get a gun, which is pretty insane. But, like, just the way they fight each other. Yeah.
I think Val...
Like, you're right. The power play that happens is great because, yeah, like, I mean, I think Val thinks she's really the leader. But, okay, fine. Let the pastor's daughter think she is whatever. We know who's the real leader. It's really that whole thing going on, and it's great.
Oh, man. Val would walk away from that fight. If this was like a King Kong versus Godzilla movie, Val's walking away. Because, I mean, Alexis would fight, but I think Val would pull any dirty trick in the book ever. Or just cold-blooded wipe people out. I think Val's walking away. Even over Beverly, I think Val's walking away from this. The winner. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too, but I think Val is extremely negligent. So she probably won't finish Alexis off, and then Alexis will get her in the back, because Alexis is someone that'll stab you in the back for sure.
Yeah.
Like, so
Val would just forget about it.
I think those two will actually just fight to the death, and they will both die in blood next to each other, and like probably have one last quip before they die.
Val would love it. Like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Like, oh my God. Yeah, I need to pop a squat. Also, more movies where, like, the girls are saying, I need to pop a squat. I love it. Yeah, more of that, please.
I'll just use this pickle jar. Isn't that what she said?
Yeah.
Like,
also,
no.
I love the guy at the gas station, like, the old guy. Like, I love his cap, also older than dirt. Like,
yeah.
It's just, like, that cap immediately tells you who this person is. Like, you know, he's like, this countryside, old guy. He doesn't really know what's going on. I do love his character that we see in the beginning and at the end. And he's just so oblivious to what's going on. But then also Izzy, like, I just love it.
Yeah, I love that older than dirt. What a great hat.
Yeah, older than dirt.
Oh, that makes me so happy. But hey, how about this?
So proudly.
Let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we will talk more. We Summon the Darkness. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And I don't know if you caught this. You definitely caught this in the beginning, but I don't know if you gave it a second thought, where they go into the gas station and they just buy up a lot of products, and they have a $26 bill, which I guess with inflation, right? It's double that. So it's $52 at this convenience store that they just spend. And they got gas too. So add another $20 on that. So these kids are dropping about $100 at a gas station like it's nothing. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see when I first saw that, because I immediately thought, these kids got money. Because when you and I were in high school, we weren't just going to gas stations and dropping $26. I never did that. Like, I got a job at Burger King to eat for free. I got a job at a movie theater to watch movies for free. So I don't know. Did that hit you weird when you saw them like have no problem spending $26 on food?
It's funny because I didn't really see how much they spent, and also, yeah, I don't really know the dollar vibes. It's not my currency.
Oh, got it. Like, okay, well,
but what I picked up in that scene is all the sweets that they bought. These girls bought sweets like kids. Like, after that, we've got like Beverly sucking on one of those ring dummy lollies in the car, and I was just like, again, watching it the second time, these are just kids, man. They're buying all the sweets. Like, they're just children going on this freaking, like, what do you call it? This mission.
Murder mission, yeah.
Yeah, but they're kids, man. Buying sweets at the gas station. All the sweets. They bought all the sweets, Mark.
Did you for 1 second, I didn't know anything about this movie, but did you for 1 second, I mean, maybe the DVD gave it away, or the Netflix cover, but did you ever think that those kids were bad? Because they tried to do the Switchblade with Mark. I always knew it was the girls. I always knew it, right? Did you ever think that it might be the three kids? Or the three guys?
When they met the guys, there was a moment where I went like, But then, when Alexis was so sketchy about, like, the bands and stuff, I was like, no, it's the girls. It's definitely the girls. I didn't, know why yet and what, but yeah, no, there was a brief moment where I wondered maybe the boys, but then I was like, no, this is not the kind of movie, Zanandi. It's the girls.
It was a fun flip though.
Yeah, it was still fun. Even when you know it was coming, it was still fun. And that wasn't really the twist. Like the twist came later, like how they were doing this for their like Pastor John. Say the name.
Oh, which one? John Henry Butler.
There we go. John Henry Butler. Yeah, you said well. Like, yeah, I think all of that was more like, the real twists of the movie and stuff. But I did like it. They like there's a lot of subversive elements in the movie that made it so much fun. I think that's again part of the funness and why we enjoyed it. Like, it felt a bit fresh. Like, this is not the kind of movie that you see every day. It's not like they're churning these out in Hollywood. So I thought it was pretty cool.
And this movie has only a 5.2 on IMDb, which is a bit of a bummer. So I don't know what people are really expecting for this. It is a fresh score, which is good, which I love. But I don't really know what I guess maybe people were expecting something darker, right? Like maybe the trailers and the box set expectations that you were about to have I thought it was mystical. When I saw We Summon the Darkness, I thought it was going to be, I had no idea the 3 kids were in it. I thought it was going to be like the 3 girls summoning a demon and dealing with that. So I had no idea what this was. But I wonder if expectations sort of hurt and gave it a 5.2. Because that's not very good on IMDb.
It's not, but or maybe it was the evangelist rating it on IMDb.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
I'm thinking evangelists wouldn't like this movie, probably. I don't know. I don't think they might share the same humorous take on things.
You know what's interesting, too, is this is a movie that it clearly, Daughters of the Dawn and these large mega churches and the amount of money they spend. And it's interesting how it walks a fine line of there is a critique on modern day super churches and cults and brainwashing, but it's not really an outright condemnation of all religion. It's interesting. It doesn't. I guess if you're one of these people, you're going to hate it anyway because it brings that up. But it's not outright dismissive towards an entire group of people. It's just talking about sort of the institution. I found that really interesting. That it wasn't like a condemnation on everything. It's not that kind of movie. It was more of a sort of a super church satanic panic. The way people use that to to gain followers. I thought it was an interesting way that they did that. I don't know if you got that vibe.
Yeah, it's like the means to an end. Now, that's why I said earlier on that there's definitely satirical elements to this movie, and that is the satire of saying, again, that line that he throws in the end of how many more children must die in the name of Satan. Well, you're literally giving it the name Satan. You, the church, is doing it. So, don't know what to tell you, buddy. And again, using it for a means to an end. There's definitely some commentary, and that's why I say there's definitely it's leaning towards some horror satire. I digged it. I digged it that it wasn't, like you say, that big of a condemnation, even though I guess some people might see it that way. Most people will see it for what it is, like a little glimpse of, and especially all of us who grew up with the satanic panic, we had it in South Africa too, dude. I mean, that was a real thing. That happened. That was crazy. I actually, a friend of mine, her brother died in a murder-suicide pact, and it was all blamed on, the satanic shit of them. And it was bad. But it's these people's hysteria about it is, what makes it so bad. Who gives it the name? We do. In this movie, the church literally, or this specific church literally does. So, I liked it that it was this commentary, but again, not slapping us over the head with it or being all serious about it. It really showed teenagers in this situation, which is pretty cool because, you're a kid and now you have to deal with all this, stuff that adults are telling you, and it's weird, man.
Yeah, and your kids.
It's a lot. You're a kid.
Yeah.
You just want to eat your Twinkies.
Exactly. Yeah. Where are my Twinkies at? Where are they? I think we ran out.
Boys, eat your Twinkies and be done with it.
And I love when they're in the pantry, locked in the pantry, that there's a bunch of Twinkie boxes. It was just a good touch by the prop department who were in there. And Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is Alan Trezor, the writer. He also wrote Burying the X and Daddario was in that with Anton Yelchin. And his commentary, he's on the commentary with director Mark Myers. And they were really interesting together because they had they seemed to be really, none of them had egos. So I guess when Alan gave the script to Mark sort of changed it around a lot. There was a lot more winking in the original script and there were other scenes and it was only a 95-page script and they got it down to 88 pages, so not much was lost. But I guess there was originally a lot more winks and Alan, so Mark would pitch, so Mark and his wife, they work as a production team together, Mark Myers and his wife, and they changed some stuff in the script and Alan's like, well, just let me go home and think about it. And then he would come back the next day and be like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we should lose this winky bit right here. And I think if we did this, so the writer had he was not precious about his work at all.
Nice.
And there was a couple times where the director was like, yeah, I took out that one bit because I didn't like it. And the writer's kind of like, well, yeah, that makes sense for the sense of this. Like, you really made a smart idea on that. But it wasn't passive aggressive. Neither one was rude to each other. They just both sort of worked together to make the best movie they could. And it was refreshing because I don't know. It was cool just to hear the two talk about their relationship and how the script formed. And I guess for writers sometimes with egos, I don't have one anymore. I think writers with egos maybe haven't been writing long or writing too long. Who knows? But it was cool hearing about how the script came together and how it became what it was and how it adapted once they got their actors. But I recommend anybody listening to it because they talk about the process trailers breaking down. They talked about the Canadian crew. They had two guys called the Blood Brothers who could just figure anything out regarding blood at a minute's notice. So nice. Behind the scenes, you just see these two cool Canadian dudes with dreads running around, dropping blood everywhere. So that was pretty cool. They knew how to do all that. And I mean, to shoot anything in 16 days and to make it this cohesive, that's tough. That's exhausting. But I also like where I listened to the Brightburn. I was going to say Superbad. I listened to the Brightburn commentary. And the director for that was like, I said he had like a mental breakdown and he had a hard time one day on set and almost fell apart and he just couldn't handle it a couple times. But then this guy was like, yeah, it was hard, but we did it. Like it's a super professional production. And once again, it's the 8th time I've said it. But since you and I have stood around on so many sets drinking coffee, it just makes me like this movie more because 16 days is nothing. That's nothing. Yeah. For a movie.
That's nothing. That goes by so quick. Oh my word. Like that's impressive.
But 36 producers. And they do make the opening part of this movie is quite funny because this is a short movie. It clocks in at 1:31. Take out 4 minutes of credits. And then the beginning, they do the 7 production companies that did it. They show the pictures for all of them. And then they go back and they show you the text for all 7 production companies. So the director was making fun of that. In the commentary because I mean it's wild. This what probably $3-4 million to make. I don't know. I love how many people had to come together to do this. But do you think this film would have done well in the theaters, or do you think this is a direct to streaming movie?
Wow, I actually think it would have been fun to watch in a theater. I would have loved to go watch this on the big screen. I think it would have been a blast. I think people would have been cheering. I think that's actually I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I would have loved to see this on the big screen. I think it would have been a fun experience.
With a rowdy crowd at like a film festival, like a Fantastic Fest or something, just everyone cheering that on.
And I think the word of mouth from that would have helped the movie as well. I actually do think that because this is it's a fun movie. We keep saying it, but it's really fun. Like there's a lot to love in this movie.
Do you think you and I love this movie so much? Or I don't know, love or like it a lot because we were watching some pretty heavy stuff. And so I watched this when we were preparing for our best 2020 horror podcast. So I wanted to watch everything. So I had watched Relic again. There's Swallow. There's, I don't know, The Intruders with Maisie Williams. I was just digging through all the horror I could find. Dark and the Wicked. And then this little thing comes along. I don't mean to be reductive. This movie comes along, and it was like a light opened up over me. So I wonder if I had watched it during normal times, if I would love it so much.
Listen, I know I would, but it's because I like stuff that flips like, the subversive angles, like Give me the unexpected. Give me something different. Like, not the